America just made a decision that's making waves across the global automotive community. While new car imports into the United States now face a steep 25% tariff under President Donald Trump's trade policies, there's a silver lining for vintage car enthusiasts, and it's a big one. Classic and collector cars have been exempted from this massive import duty, and that has huge implications not just for US buyers, but for the entire vintage car market across the world. Let's break down what this means, why it happened, and what the catch is, because yes, there is one. First, some background. The US recently imposed a 25% tariff on imported vehicles as part of a larger trade policy push to encourage more domestic production. And this has rattled some of the biggest names in the auto world. Brands like Porsche, Jaguar, and Bentley, who don't have manufacturing bases in the US, were among the first to feel the heat. Reports suggest Audi and Jaguar Land Rover even paused deliveries to the US market temporarily. But it's not just the big automakers who were worried. Smaller firms that specialize in importing and selling vintage vehicles, from the iconic Porsche 911S to rare Ferraris and Group B rally legends, were staring at a potential financial disaster. If those cars were hit with a 25% tax, their prices would have soared overnight. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine a beautifully maintained Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 2 priced at $100,000. Under the 25% tariff, that car would suddenly cost $125,000 without any added value. Imagine a 1980s Ford RS200. That could jump by $150,000. And what about the real crown jewels, vintage Ferraris from the 1960s? Some of those cars are already valued at several $1 million. A 25% increase could easily mean a $1 million hike in price. It's not just about collectors paying more, it's about the ripple effect on demand, dealer operations, restoration jobs, and even event organizers that depend on the vintage car culture in the US. Thankfully, there's relief. US trade officials made the decision to exempt vintage and collector cars from the 25% import tariff. So what qualifies as a vintage or classic car? According to the ruling, any car that is 25 years old or older at the time of import will not face the new tariff. Instead, it will be subject only to the usual 2.5% duty. This exemption is a game changer, and here's why. The US is home to over 43 million classic cars with a combined estimated value of more than $1 trillion according to data from Hagerty. That's not a niche hobby anymore. That's an entire economy. Collectors, dealers, shippers, and restorers all breathe easier now. The value chain tied to classic cars, both in the US and overseas, has been protected. But before we celebrate too early, there's a very important catch. Only vehicles that are at least 25 years old qualify for the exemption. That means if a car is even 1 day short of that milestone, it will be taxed as a new vehicle at the full 25% rate. Let's take the BMW E46M 3C as an example. Launched in 2003, it's a collector's dream, but it's only just turned 20. That means it's not exempt and will still be subject to the full tariff. Same goes for the Subaru Impreza RAR and several other modern classics that are immensely popular among enthusiasts, but haven't yet hit that 25-year mark. So if you're eyeing an early 2000s icon, prepare for a steep price tag, or wait patiently until it becomes eligible. So why did the US government make this exception for classics? According to a letter from lawyers at Simon Gluck and Kane LLP to the US trade representative, it was a matter of economics and common sense. If the import cost becomes too high, many cars simply wouldn't enter the US. That means the government not only misses out on the 2.5% duty, but also loses valuable state tax revenue from the eventual resale of these cars. Think about this. A $10 million blue-chip classic sold inside the US could generate $700,000 in state taxes alone. That's money the government doesn't want to lose. It's not about being sentimental, it's about being smart. This exemption also aligns with existing US regulations that allow non-compliant vehicles, those that don't meet modern safety or emission standards, to be imported once they're 25 years old. The classic car movement isn't just surviving, it's evolving and getting politically organized. So what does this all mean for you? If you're a collector in India or anywhere else in the world who has eyes on the American market, this is great news. Your classic car can still find a buyer in the US without getting priced out by taxes. And if you're a US buyer looking abroad for your dream vintage ride, you're in luck. But if your dream car is just under the 25-year mark, you might need to wait a few more birthdays. Either way, this story proves one thing. Classic cars aren't just nostalgic. They're valuable assets, cultural icons, and now economic tools. What's your dream classic ride? Would you wait for the 25-year rule or pay the premium? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Autoverse India, and ring the bell so you never miss a ride. Thanks for watching and keep revving.